Welcome, ladies and gentlemen, to sqadia.com. My name is Mohammad Osama, and today we are talking about nutritional disorders. And in nutritional disorders, we are specifically talking about water-soluble vitamin deficiencies. So, in this section, we are going to talk about all the different type of water-soluble vitamins and how their deficiency resulted in different type of clinical signs and symptoms and pathologies. So, let's start off with vitamin B1, also known as thiamine deficiency. So, it is associated with severe malnutrition and alcoholism, as we already discussed in previous lectures if you have watched them, that alcoholism can also result in malnutrition and if there is actually poor diet. So there are three distinct syndromes which can result from vitamin B1 or thiamine deficiency, including dry beriberi, wet beriberi, and Wernicke-Korsakoff syndrome. So when we talk about beriberi and specifically dry beriberi, it is the signs and symptoms associated are more related to the nervous system, and that is actually the major manifestation of dry beriberi, which is peripheral neuropathy, and this results in both sensory as well as motor dysfunction associated with the peripheral nervous system, most commonly the atrophy of the muscles in the extremities. So if you look at this picture, this tells us a lot about the clinical signs and symptoms of dry beriberi. So we can see at it as it is a peripheral neuropathy and is a lower motor neuron lesion, so there would be diminished reflexes or loss of tendon reflexes. Secondly, there would be atrophy of the muscle in the extremities, and they would also be painful and tender on palpation, and there may also be burning sensation and numbness or tingling sensation in the feet, which is also related to the sensory dysfunction of the peripheral neuropathy. Other than that, there can also be confusion and inability to speak because of the motor deficit of the nervous system or the peripheral nervous system, and other motor deficits may include wrist drop and foot drop as well. On the other hand, wet beriberi, it is more or less related, it is more related to the cardiovascular system, and the main manifestation is high output cardiac failure with dilated cardiac myopathy. So the results of this are actually because of the peripheral dilation, and which results in arteriovenous shunting because of the dilation of the peripheral arteries and capillaries, which shunts the blood into the venous system, and thus it also results in hypervolemia and cardiac dilation. Other than that, there is edema of the extremities, especially the legs and face and trunk as well. Other than that, there is palpitation, that the person becomes self-aware of his or her own heartbeat. And there's dyspnea, or you can also say breathlessness or shortness of breath, and along with distended neck veins, which can be observed in inspection. And this can also, wet berry can also result in death, which occurs majorly due to heart failure, or you can say high output cardiac failure. The third common condition associated with this type of vitamin deficiency is Wernicke-Korsakoff syndrome, in which there is a thiamine deficiency and commonly associated with alcoholism, and there are actually degenerative changes in the brainstem and diencephalon. So that's how it's different from the dry beriberi, which was also involving the nervous system, but it was involving the peripheral nervous system. In this, we can see that the central nervous system is involved, which is the brain stem and the diencephalon. So there are actually hemorrhagic lesions of the cortical and bilateral perimedian masses of gray matter involving the mammillary bodies as well. Once again, central nervous system, and it is characterized by confusion, which is a common symptom in both dry beriberi and Wernicke-Korsakoff syndrome, but it is also associated with ataxia, which is impaired coordination, and ophthalmoplegia, which is the paralysis of the muscles of the eye, the ocular muscles of the eye. And that is why it is also known as Wernicke stride, because of these three symptoms: confusion, ataxia, and ophthalmoplegia. And there's also memory loss and confabulation, in which a person something which didn't happen, or there is actually changes in the memory, or person perceives memory which is actually not true, so that is known as confabulation. So that is also a disorder related or associated with memory loss. The second one is vitamin B2 or riboflavin deficiency. So it is rare in the United States because riboflavin is added commercially to prepared bread and cereals, and it occurs due to alcoholism. Uh, FAD dieters are very common, and also in the elderly. So how does vitamin B2 deficiency manifest clinically? It manifests clinically in the terms of chelosis, which is actually skin fissures at angles of the mouth, as you can see here. So at the angle of the mouth, this is the angle of the mouth. So here there are actually fissures on the both sides. So that is known as chelosis or chulosis. On the other hand, there's actually glossitis. There's also corneal vascularization. As you can see in this picture, there is vascularization in front of the cornea. And there are also seborrheic dermatitis, or inflammation of the dermis of the skin at the face, scrotum, and uvula. The next is the vitamin B3 or niacin deficiency. It occurs only when diet deficient in both niacin and tryptophan. If there is only deficiency of the niacin, then it would not result in vitamin B3 or niacin deficiency, because niacin can be synthesized in the human body from the tryptophan. So for the vitamin B3 deficiency to occur, there is supposed to be deficiency of both vitamin B3 or niacin and as well as tryptophan. So it is important, niacin is important because it is a component of NAD and NADP, which is essential for glycolysis, citric acid cycle, and other metabolic processes. As you may have heard the term nicotinamide adenosine diphosphate. So that is a very common component of these processes, and these processes are very important because these are involved in the energy production in the cell. How does the clinical manifestation of niacin deficiency occur? So it is in terms of pellagra, which is a condition which is characterized by 3 Ds. One is the dermatitis, which is the inflammation of the dermis, specifically and especially in the exposed areas such as face, neck, and dermis of the hand. The dorsal aspect of the hand, as well as the dorsal aspect of the feet. The second is the dementia, which is the loss of memory, and diarrhea, which is a manifestation of the gastrointestinal tract. So these 3 Ds are actually the manifestation of the pellagra, which is due to the niacin deficiency. And here you can see this is dermatitis, which can occur in pellagra on face, neck, and the dorsum of the hand and feet. Now, vitamin B6, also known as pyridoxine deficiency, it is manifested as convulsion in infants due to decreased activity of pyridoxal-dependent glutamate decarboxylase, leading to deficient production of GABA, which is an important neurotransmitter in the nervous system. Other than that, clinical manifestations may be similar to vitamin B2 deficiency as well. So vitamin B6 deficiency on its own is uncommon, but it may still occur in cases of chronic alcoholism, and also in association with therapeutic drugs such as isonicotinic acid hydroside, which is an anti-tuberculosis agent used in the treatment of tuberculosis, but it also acts as a competitive inhibitor for pyridoxine binding sites, so resulting in the deficient production of GABA. Other causes may include the increased need of pyridoxine, including homocystinuria and pyridoxine responsive anemia, which is actually microcytic anemia with erythrocytes or red blood cells which are smaller in size and associated with reduced heme synthesis. So it is an anemia with small cells on, you can say, on visual inspection. Now, vitamin B12, also known as cobalamin deficiency, so it results in marked reduction in DNA replication process and cell division. So as we can imagine that if there is reduction in DNA replication and cell division, so that can have an impact most significantly on those cells which are rapidly dividing or which have to divide. So it manifests clinically as megaloblastic anemia with prominent neurological dysfunction. Megaloblastic anemia because the cells have a larger amount of size, but they are stuck in the non-dividing phase and they do not progress to mitosis because of the reduction in DNA replication and cell division. So that results in megaloblastic anemia, as well as they also result in prominent neurological dysfunction. That's why they are also given as a supplementation in neurological disorders. They're almost always caused by malabsorption, but may also occur in rare cases on dietary basis in strict vegetarians because, as I already mentioned, that the vitamin B12 can be stored in the liver. So that is why you can say that usually it is not. It does not occur, or its insufficiency or deficiency does not occur because of poor diet, but in fact it occurs more or less related to malabsorption. And one more important thing, that it is not found in association with alcoholism, and most common malabsorption disease which may lead to vitamin B12 deficiency is pernicious anemia, and other diseases include Crohn's disease, blind loop syndrome, and giant fish tapeworm infestation. Now, folic acid deficiency, it is the most commonly it is because of the dietary origin in which the diet is insufficient or deficient of folic acid, and it occurs oftenly in alcoholics and FAD dieters. It can be secondary to intestinal malabsorption as well, but it is more commonly found associated with alcoholics and FAD dieters as well. So it can occur without any dietary deprivation as well in cases in which there is increased demand of folate, for example, in pregnancy, and as well as in hemolytic anemia, in which there is a short lifespan of RBCs in which they are in which they die or they are damaged sooner. So even though if there is normal diet containing of folic acid, it can still result in folic acid deficiency, and that is why pregnant females received folic acid supplements. Sometimes it can also occur in secondary or in response to cancer chemotherapy because the chemotherapeutic drugs contain antagonists to folic acid. So that is why it can also result in folic acid deficiency. Moreover, they do not result in neurological changes in contrast to vitamin B12 deficiency, the folic acid deficiency, and last but not the least is the vitamin C or ascorbic acid deficiency. It is characterized by formation of mesenchymal tissue and osteoid matrix due to impaired synthesis of hydroxyproline and hydroxylysine, for which vitamin C is a cofactor. Now, vitamin C deficiency result in defective collagen fibrinogenesis. So when collagen fibrils are not produced or there is a defect, then what happens is that the process of healing is disrupted. So that is why vitamin C deficiency leads to impaired wound healing. And that results in a very well-known condition which is known as scurvy, and it was found to be very much common in pirates because they spent more of their time on the sea, and they result in different type of malnutrition and thus vitamin C deficiency. So in scurvy, the scurvy is characterized by muscle, joint, and bone pain, swelling of gums, which results in bleeding as well, and subperiosteal hemorrhage. Periosteum is actually the outermost layer of the bone, and there is actually hemorrhage beneath the periosteum, and perifollicular petechial hemorrhages as well. So bone changes are secondary to defective osteoid matrix formation because of the abnormal calcific deposition in the granular matrix in the bone. And despite of the other symptoms, scurvy is most commonly known for its oral symptoms in which there is actually loosened teeth, and swollen and ulcerated gums, which also result in bleeding gums. So vitamin C deficiency, also known as scurvy, the symptoms can actually be memorized with the help of a mnemonic, which is SHADES. So SHADES S stand for skin discoloration and bruising. H stands for hemorrhaging, especially in the mouth and oral cavity, and especially and as well as in the skin and subperiosteal bleeding. And anemia, D for dental issues, E for exhaustion and fatigue, and S for swelling of joints and edema, and as well swelling of the gums. So that was all about water-soluble vitamin deficiencies, in which we talked about the deficiencies of vitamin B, folic acid, and vitamin C, all of them. So thank you very much for watching, and stay tuned for more lectures on nutritional disorders like fat-soluble vitamins and obesity. Thank you very much for watching. sqadia.com. Thank you.